Namaste. My name is Sahana Singh. I am an author and commentator on Indian history and water management and various other current issues. So here we have the man himself, Abhinav Goswami ji.
Namaste.
He's like you are like a guru who came into my life just when I needed that knowledge. Otherwise, I would not have connected to that. So the first question that I would like to ask you, Abhinav ji, is what is a gaushala? If you have to define a gaushala, what has to be the main components? Of course, we know cows, but tell us something more about what is a gaushala.
Gaushala, very simple. Gau
Hmm.
is cow. Shala means home, a home for cows.
Right.
So that's where you have a structure. Basically, three components of a gaushala. You need a land where cows could graze and they are secure. You need cows, of course, if you have the land. And then you need people who can take care of them. So once you have these three ingredients, you have the gaushala.
Gaushala.
Right.
So to be very honest, when you said you would set up a gaushala, I didn't really believe you. I thought you would try and it wouldn't work out and then you would go back to your daily job. So I was actually astounded when you started the gaushala and you made it operational. So I think you should tell the viewers what are the prerequisites for setting up a gaushala. What do you need to do?
So I think a prerequisite depends on the locations, on the society, on the community, and a whole lot of things, land pricing and all that. But in general, setting up gaushala in Houston was relatively easier because Texas in general is a cattle county. So having these cows available was not an issue. There are plenty of land in Texas where you could, those are unrestricted lands. So you could just go and ask the county that can you start, just ask them, and generally they are permitted. Agriculture work is permitted. And then you need some dedicated people. I'm really thankful to my family that they have come together and they have been helping me on the journey for last about 5 years since I quit corporate.
Right. And you wanted specifically the Indian cows,
Yes.
right? Because there is plenty of supply of the other cows, which are the Holstein cows and various
Holsteins,
other
yes.
breeds.
Yeah.
But you were looking for Indian cows. First of all, did you know that Indian cows are found in America?
Yes, I knew. I mean, I have been involved with cows since my childhood. When I grew up on a farm, we had 20 cows, and until my 12th grade, I was take them, graze them. So I had seen many kind of cows in our region. I'm from Aligarh, UP. When I started driving in US, I saw certain farms. Most of the farms in California we have lived, in Connecticut we have lived, and we did some country driving as well. Texas, interestingly, has a historical association, and they have an article on the Indian cows and how they came from India to this. And I think it goes back to 1815 when few farmers from Texas and Louisiana and probably Florida, they went to India when India was ruled by Britishers. And at that time, you can imagine like today's everything for sale kind of board, right? So you put a finger, pay the price and get it. So they got some good breeds.
Indian cows considered good breeds. What was special about them?
I think primarily because this is a meat-eating country, so they found some good quality in that. They still consider that as a better food. I think that's where their consciousness has developed to that point. But when they go beyond that, I think they will understand much more about these cows. So it's all just expansion of consciousness. I mean, yeah.
So you grew up amidst cows. You were taking care of cows. So if you look at your motivation for setting up a gaushala, what was that? With you came to America on a job. You worked here. So just take us back and tell us.
That's a favorite topic you have taken me to. I'm fascinated by India's educational heritage, which what you started with. And when I started reading about it, I found that there were 4 gurukuls on an average in each village. And even Britishers documented that India was 99.9% literate country as of 1800. And we were largest economy of the world just 200 years back. So what went wrong? Why we collapsed from there? Was systematically broken or what? But when I started discovering there were three components of that economy, that prosperity: Krishi, Vanij and Shilp. Krishi, Vanij, Shilp.
I see.
So these are three components which were basic of that economy. Krishi is your whole agriculture. This whole agriculture was cow dependent. Vanij means each household had a business, like they were involved in any kind of activity. And then Shilp. Shilp means skills. Each person was given a skill. We talk about 64 skills. So how do you create an ecosystem which runs automatically? Imagine a village, you have 4 gurukuls, and obviously I would imagine certain gurukul will teach certain things, like you have certain university teach medical, certain university teach defense and economics and all that. So these gurukuls were running self-sustainable. There was no mention that, oh, these grants were given by the king or given by the society. They were self-sustaining economies. So that's where I came into this whole idea of how do we develop a cow-based ecosystem? And if we can develop it, then we can run an education system on top of it, where it's least burden for any kid, any student, and to the parents.
So education was your prime
It was the
when you thought of setting up a goshala.
Oh, absolutely.
That's amazing.
That was and I am still today. So the cow-based economy is like our sages have written, Gaumai Vaste Lakshmi. The Lakshmi resides in cow dung. You need Lakshmi to do something. You need money. And money has to come from a source which is as pure as it could be. Then only you do constructive work. If the Lakshmi is not pure, you would do more like destructive work, and we are seeing it. So whole idea is to set up a cow-based ecosystem and then set up a gurukul around it. And that's where we are making progress. Our first project in Aligarh is almost ready with Gaushala, the 200 cows facility, the whole biodigester plant is there. We have recently added a biofertilizer unit which we produce in 300 ton of cow dung, like just cow dung into biofertilizer. And then, so if you look at this economy, this is like output from one source is input to next. So cow gave us cow dung urine, goes to biodigester, produces methane, then methane goes to a biogenerator, we get electricity, and then the bioslurry goes to a biofertilizer unit, we get fertilizer, goes to ground produces grain, vegetables, and then the cow fodder, the fodder goes to cow eats it, and this whole circle continues. There's no wastage in it.
So basically, if you have a cow and you've set up, many cows, set up a goshala, you just don't need anything. You don't depend on anything.
So we're producing our own dairy products, milk, ghee, whatever. We're producing our own energy in a fuel form as well as in a gas, in electricity form. We produce 30 kilowatt 3-phase 440 volt just from cows. We produce our own fertilizer. I don't need any chemical industry to tell me how to grow my crop. We're doing it. And then all of this, the crop you produce with this is a premium quality product. It's very hard to find. So if we look at it, now integrate with the Gurukul. So if there is a student, we need to educate them. We need to create jobs for them. What is the best system other than the cow-based economy? People can standard dairy operations, farming operations, fertilizer creation operations, energy creation operations. So there are so many skills which can be integrated along a Gaushala, and there may be so many employment opportunities we can create. India has lot of cattle.
That's amazing, because of course, the health part of it is the most intuitive thing that I can think of. Good milk, it makes you healthy, makes you strong.
Right.
But the education part of it, that's a very amazing insight that I got from you.
Put it simply, the education system across the world has been compartmentalized. It has not been connected. Even governments have separated agriculture and animal husbandry as two separate operations. They are not. So education, animal husbandry and agriculture, they should be one component.
And it's the cow that
integrates everything.
Right.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So don't you feel that if you had started this long before, because you went through this whole the steps of joining a company, an IT company, working for years and years, don't you think it was a waste of time? Maybe you could have set up by now many more Gaushalas maybe. if you had started early? Do you feel that sometimes?
No, I don't think. I think it was waste of time. These 20-25 years in corporate actually gave us a different perspective of the world. I mean, of course, if I was continuing, I was already doing cows, in my childhood. But if I would have continued that thing, maybe I could not have understood the world, especially the Western world, especially the people. What are the challenges you have once you leave your country? So now I have much better understanding, and I think much more qualified to fix certain problems which were not there. Like, setting up this Texas Gaushala gave me new learnings which Aligarh Gaushala did not. So people come here and then say, I'm so happy that I touched cow after 40 years since I moved from my village. And I'm thinking, why it took 40 years for you to just reconnect with your root system?
Yeah, actually, many people must have thought of it, but nobody took the plunge. So you just went for it. It's a real act of courage that, you just went ahead. And I remember your words. You said that I'm not the doer. It is the Krishna who is showing me the way, and you just keep doing. That's what you are doing.
Yes.
I have one question for you. Maybe this can be a learning for others who want to set up a Gaushala. What would you do differently? Would you like to talk about something you would do differently, or maybe approach the subject of setting up a Gaushala differently?
Yeah, I think once you want to start a Gaushala, follow the modern corporate principles. You should have your operations team aligned. You should have your accounting team aligned, and most importantly, the marketing team. So whatever you're doing, that marketing should start right away. You need to understand who's your customer, what are their expectations, what they want. Because once you set up any operation, it requires money. And either money comes as investment or it comes as a donation. With cow, of course, you can ask for donations, but that's dependent on other people's mercy. So I would rather prefer to set up our own financial input, and that comes from marketing. If there are people who are definitely supporting it, the people who are going to get the product from Gaushala and pay you for that product, then your struggle reduces. Rather than you start first and set it up and then you can't run away, because cow is a living being. You cannot just turn it off, like it's not a factory. That if you don't have raw material, or if you don't have the labor, you cannot shut it down. It has to, somebody has to be there 24/7. So marketing is very important.
So if you were to change something, you would have a better marketing plan in place before you set up a Gaushala.
Marketing and data science.
Data science.
Yes, I'm a data scientist. I have spent many years as a data scientist. Collecting data is very important. Something good happened, why it happened, can we repeat it? Something bad happened, what were the factors which let this happen? How do I avoid it?
Thank you so much. This is wonderful insights by you.
Really, thank you so much.